I know, it's another video on why I left the church, but I basically wanted to explain how I went from this. I just really wasn't happy. I wasn't happy. To this. God is wicked. Hi everyone, thank you so much for clicking on this video. Thank you for every single person that watched my other video. If you've not watched it, you can watch it here. If you've not watched the one before that, you can watch it here. But honestly, I think the I'm done video it's on 8,000 views now, and I am gassed. When I say gassed, I'm gassed. Like, I'm so grateful it's reached that far. But anyway, I had quite a lot of people asking me how did I get to that point? Like, I've not explained why. I've just basically said God's a monster. So I thought this video, I thought I'd use this video to share my whole story now. It's about time. It's been almost a year since my last official video. So it's about time. So I've got my notes so I don't go off on a tangent this time. And especially because I've got baby brain. Having baby brain's a thing, all right? So let's get into it anyway. Okay, so I started to go to church when I was about 6 or 8 maybe, so we'll say 7. Obviously I wasn't born into the church, but going at that young age, you might as well be born into the church anyway. And it was the Seventh-day Adventist church that I went into, and I was kind of, I grew up there as a child, and in my teenage years I was kind of in and out, as you do. And then when I was in my later teenage years, I was 19, that's when I took it seriously. I went so deep. I was what you would call a present truth Seventh-day Adventist. And I went deep into it. Like, I was all about the health message, the three angels message. Really loved studying Daniel and Revelation in the last days. If you know a Seventh-day Adventist, anyone who's Seventh-day Adventist would understand what I'm talking about right now. But I was deep into that, like, changed my dress and everything, how I wore, what I wore. I was deep into it, okay? I was deep into it. You can even see, like, on my Instagram, which I'll tag below, check it out if you've got time, if you want to anyway. You can scroll down so I don't delete things, and you can see my journey. You can see it's clear when I was deep into the church, just from some of the posts. So if you've got time, and if you want to see more of my life, then feel free to check that out. But I was deep into it. I'm not going to say I knew everything, because no one does, but I was very studious. I did my best. I like to understand things. Yeah, I studied. I was into, like, Seventh-day Adventists have this thing called spirit prophecy, which they believe a lady named Ellen G. White was a prophet from the Lord. And she's got, like, her whole collection of books it's called Spirit of Prophecy, basically. And I was into that, like Adventist Home, messages to young people, and some of the health ones as well. Great Controversy, Steps to Christ, all of them books. I was into them a lot. I was deep. And then anyway, that's basically where I was, but I'm gonna focus more on obviously how I came out of it. So I was extreme. I really was extreme. We'll just leave it at that. I was extreme. And then at this point now, my mindset was basically at this video here. Again, if you want to watch that, there you go, click it up there. But that's where my mindset was. I just got to a point where I realized, like, yo, I'm really not happy here. So when I was really deep into it, I basically slowly stopped going. Now, I didn't know it at the time, but it was clearly because, like I said in my video here, I wasn't happy. Like, I was I recognize now I was basically running away from myself. But that's a whole another deep topic for another time. But yeah, I slowly stopped going, and a situation happened in my life where I thought to myself, you know what? Shall I go back? Because I was like, life is okay. It's okay. I still believed in it all. And I was like, shall I go back? And then something clicked in my head. I was like, nah, listen. I think I said this in my other video. I don't know. But I said, the truth is, if I was meant to be there, I wouldn't have left so many times anyway. And that kind of solidified my choice in not going. But then that was just the beginning of the rabbit hole. Okay, so yeah, so disclaimer, this is where it starts properly. How many minutes in? I don't know. I've had to start and stop this, so about 2 minutes, 5 minutes in. Disclaimer, I do not believe or take as factual truth or evidence or whatever the things that I'm going to say. I'm not saying that I do believe in them or they are true. I am just saying that this was my journey, what I went on out of religion, okay? So don't come for me when I'm mentioning some crazy things. I just went into a whole leap of different things, and that's great. It makes the journey more fun, doesn't it? Okay, so obviously once I realised that, that's when I... Did I mention this? That's when I done Baby Brain. That's when I done that video. If I've not mentioned it, watch it there again. You do that now. And eventually I got to quite a low place in life. I was low, you know. It happens. And my brother introduced me into meditation, so that is the route I kind of went down. And then for me, that was amazing. And then after meditation, I kind of found out all about the whole law of attraction and stuff like that. And then, like I said, because I still believed in it, I just didn't want to go to church at this point in time. So we're looking at 2017, yeah, 2017. I was just like, yeah, I'm just not interested in church. But obviously it's still true, because, you know, how can all of this world be if God didn't create it? So of course it's still true. So I just thought, you know what, clearly it's just like the whole church, that's wrong. That was my mindset, okay? So I started to question, why aren't the other books in the Bible, why aren't they there? I asked this question in church many times, but I was always told, oh, don't touch them. That's, you know, just don't touch them, basically, in short. So obviously I just listened then. But now at this point, 2017, I'm like, I'm gonna find out. I've got no one to stop me. I had no one to stop me anyway, but I was like, I've got no one telling me, no, don't look. So I'm just gonna look and find out what they are. First book I looked into was Adam and Eve. It was interesting. I still have that book somewhere. Maybe I should. But it was called Adam and Eve. I think there was... Yeah, it was about Adam and Eve. And it basically kind of shown them as like a child. Them learning new things. And God having to be like the father and helping them to understand stuff. Like, for example, in the book, it said that they died many times because they accidentally killed themselves because they didn't know. And when I read this at the time, I was like, yo, I feel more connected with the father, because now I can see him like an actual parent, actually parenting them and, you know, being loving and having patience to teach them. That was my mindset at the time. I was like, yeah, I'm liking this version. So I kind of just swallowed up as much as I could before I got bored of reading. And yeah, that was my mindset at the time. But obviously one thing leads to another, doesn't it? I sat there and I found out, I stumbled across Lilith. I'm like, what? Lilith? Who's Lilith? And in short, for those who don't know, Lilith is supposedly Adam's first wife, but she didn't like to be controlled the way she was meant to be, or the way Adam wanted to control her. So she basically cut loose and was like, nah, forget this, I'm not doing that. And then legend says that God cursed her and she now kills babies. Is it something like that, or takes it something like that? That's what some people have made up and said. So anyway, so regardless of whether that's true or not, my thought pattern was, but wait, if that is true, tell me how God made that mistake if he's meant to be perfect. How are you gonna create, like, you're in the middle of creation and you've created something and you're like, oh shit, this creation ain't listening to me. I just thought, how can you be God then? Like, how powerful are you really if your first thing was a mistake? Okay. And then how can God be the creator of all really if you fucked up? You fucked up from the beginning. And then one thing that really got to me was the fact that, for example, like, many different Bibles have like different numbers of books in there. Like the Ethiopian Bible, I'm sure that has 88 or 80. Then obviously the standard Western Bible, English Bible, has 66. And that annoyed me. I was like, so the one with 66 books is the right one. Like, many Christians, whatever denomination you are, especially Seventh-day Adventists, will say, yeah, that's the right one, that is ordained by God, the 66 books in the Bible. It pissed me off because I'm like, so the Ethiopian one's wrong then? Why is the European one right, but the Ethiopian one's wrong? I didn't like that. That got to me. I was like, nah. Does that look weird, my arm on the wall? I was like, nah. Like, seriously, it just... I just started to think. I was like, how can that be? Why is that the case? And someone tried to explain and tried to say, oh, well, Ellen G. White and her whole gang made it clear when they were studying and doing whatever type of thing in upstairs in the room, whatever, and they from their studying of blah blah blah, they made it clear that there's that this was the right one. I'm just like, no offense to anyone watching this, but I was like, but Ellen G. White, they're white people though, so of course they're gonna agree that that one's the right one. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna make it be the right one. You get me? And I just didn't like that. I was just like, you know what, if y'all just all accept the different ones, yeah, just don't say why is... I don't know, maybe that's my own trigger, because we're kind of taught to see black is wrong and white is right, maybe. And it was a trigger for me, I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna own that. But I think it's all bullshit anyway. But that was my line of thought at the time. I'm really trying my best to kind of stick to how I was thinking then at the time, instead of just calling it all bullshit. But yeah, that was my line of thought. And then, okay, and then I stumbled across the oldest bones found, that they found so far, were bones of a woman. Now, you can imagine that shattered my whole reality to what I had known in terms of Adam and Eve. So I was like, but wait, how can this be? Because it was, what, billions of years? Was it millions? I can't remember. When I find out, I'll put up the thing on the screen. But I was like, nah, that don't make sense. But then I then accepted that the earth was older, because I'm not going to be an idiot. I wasn't under a rock. I heard many times, like David Attenborough and many scientists say billions of years old. But because obviously the Bible was right, clearly, I just ignored that. Anytime I'd hear that on like a nature show, I'd be like, you idiot. I'd be calling them an idiot, you know, and I'll be like, how can you say the earth is that old? Clearly it's only 6,000 years old because the Bible said so. So that's what I was like at the time. So obviously now at this stage of my journey, I've accepted now that the earth is older than 6,000 years, because clearly it is. It's like there's honestly, there's no argument against it. There's none at all. I don't understand. It's okay, Kelita. It's okay. I was where I was. Anyway, so when I'm there saying that now, I'm like, people in the church always say, from calculations of the genealogy from all the characters and add up their age, it's about 6,000 years old. So you've got many Christians who believe that that's how old the earth is. But it's so clear that it's not. I didn't even have to look far to find that out. And I was like, okay, damn. Clearly it's older than that. Clearly. And then obviously the whole Adam and Eve thing, I'm like, but wait, the eldest bones found were of a woman, so that don't make no sense. But then logically, I have never, ever seen any human come from a man's rib. Ever. Have you? No. So then that logic straight away, I was like, oh shit. I was like, damn. Okay. And then from the fact that they were able to find bones from the eldest woman, who was however many millions of years old, I'm like, but wait. So if that's the case, if you can find her bones, you can name her and everything, find out how old she is. But you can't find Moses' bones. And Moses told you where he buried. Where, you know, he told you where he got buried. Told you when he died. Can't find Solomon. You can't find none of them. I'm like, what? I thought that huh? And, you know, being honest, as a Christian, I didn't even think to look at, oh, so where are their bones then? I looked into the Ark, and there's videos saying that the Ark is on Mount Ararat. I don't know whether that's true. Well, I doubt it's true. But yeah, I was like, how are you not finding these people? This is meant to be, you should know where they are, you know what I'm saying? But it's just all suspect to me. At this point, I'm just like, that's suspect. I still didn't drop it to say, okay, this is 100% rubbish. I was just like, nah, that's suspect. So then I started to actually do research now, because I'm like, okay, all of this really is suspect. Like, things just aren't adding up. I'm hearing little bit of knowledge here and there. I'm like, it's not adding up. And then I came across the book. Damn, it was my dad's book. I don't know what it's called, but it basically went into the Council of Nicaea. Is that what it's called? Maybe, I don't know. But it's a black man wrote the book, and it goes deep into it. It's literally just laid out how Jesus was created, from, oh damn, my memory is so bad, but they mentioned the name of that guy's face, how they got the white photo of Jesus. What's his name? You lot should know if you're watching this video. Hopefully someone mentioned his name in the comments, but that's basically where they got the whole look from, which was the father of someone. Was it the father of someone? I really can't remember. But that book, anyway, it laid it all out so clear, the dates and everything. I was like, rah. I was like, okay. But still, even though this is how ingrained it gets in your very being, because even though I seen that, it clearly was just like, yeah, Jesus ain't real. He was made up here. It's fake. You know, it's fake, basically. You should have just said it's fake. it's like I still wanted to believe it. Like I really did, because obviously it was my life, wasn't it? It was my life. I then obviously, as you do, you stumble on YouTube and you watch loads of videos. And I have to admit, my favourite person that literally just broke it down bit by bit was the real Merkaba. Yeah, the real Merkaba. Am I saying it right? I don't know. But he's got like a long video he done years ago that's 6 hours long, but it breaks it down so much. And I was like, yo, from that video I then done more research to find out, because obviously when you watch videos, don't just take it as it is, and you need to do your own research. Well, you can take it as it is, you can do whatever you want to do with your life, but to make sure it's true, check do your own research. And yeah, that video, I was like, okay, I think it's probably time to let this go now. But still I didn't. What broke me, like honestly what broke me, was when I clocked that the verse, I don't know whether it was brought up in that video, it might have been, but it's in Galatians, is it 25, I think? I'll put it on a screen, but it's Galatians, and it basically says that it's an allegory. I was like, what? Huh? Like, this is what? What? I'm laughing to myself here. I was like, what? Look, for real, that broke me. That text. Shall I find the actual text? Let's read it. Let's read the text. Okay, so it's Galatians 4 verses 24. King James, I'll say it in a few different versions. It says the same thing, but just so you understand it, King James Version says, which things are an allegory? For these are the two covenants, the one from the Mount Sinai, which gendereth to bondage, which is Agar. World English Bible, these things contain an allegory. For these are two covenants. One is from Mount Sinai, bearing children. You see, this one says these things contain an allegory. So you know, someone who claims they're diligent will say, okay, it contains it, so part of it, there's a story in it. But let's be real. The King James says which things are an allegory, and that's the one you lot should be reading anyway. Okay, so another one, which things are allegorized? For these are two covenants, blah blah blah. But anyway, I didn't take that out of context. I read the whole chapter before, and I was like, okay, no matter how I want to try and sift this around, it still says allegory. I then said, okay, just to make sure, let me go back to the first ever found Bible that they have online, and I looked it up. What is it called again? Oh, bloody hell, my memory is so bad. You lot are going to be watching this video and thinking, you idiots, you can't give no receipts. But what's it called? The Septuagint, is that it? Or the code, is it the Codex Sinaiticus? I can't pronounce it, but it's one of them. Septuagint or the Codex Sinaiticus, one of them anyway. I basically looked it up online and I found that verse just to make sure that that was there, or if it was not there, and you know, that it was added in later. And it was there. It was there. So I was like, damn. Like, I'm not gonna lie, the emotions I felt when I found that, it was crushing. I'm gonna be real, it was crushing, because I was like, what? An allegory, that's basically a story. And if any aspect of that verse says that it's just literally just a story, then anything technically after or from Abraham onward is just a story, and it's not real. And that means Jesus ain't coming back. He ain't coming back. I was like, what? Yeah, I have to admit my emotions at that point were really all over the place, because obviously my whole life, even though I was not strict at that time, but I still believed in it, you know what I'm saying? And my whole life was like, yo, nah, this is messed up. Like, because I don't think you like understand, I'm saying this, but once I found out that was like a story, if that was a story, then Jesus ain't coming back, which means is sin really real? Which means the whole praying for heaven and for your sins, it's just not real. Which means all of this stuff that people are doing and that I was doing at the time, there's no point, because it's not real. You get what I'm saying? So that's where I was at the time anyway. I was angry. Once I found that out, that's when I went into my anger phase. And it's normal. Anyone experiencing that, it's normal. You're going to, when you find out it's not real. And yeah, I feel after that, once I found out, it's like, okay, this really is bullshit. I began to kind of read it. I wouldn't say reread the whole Bible. I ain't doing that. I'm not gonna lie. It's not that serious for me. For other people it is, but I ain't reading throughout all of that again. However, I do read bits here and there. But I started to read it with different eyes. So I didn't read it as 100% truth. I didn't read it as, I just didn't read it as real. You know, I just read it for the words on the paper. And I was like, yo, that's when I realised that the character of the Lord God is a monster. So, you know, I'd done that video a year ago, just under a year ago, and I still feel the same way. The character is wicked. It's basically like, who's a Game of Thrones fan? Is worse than Joffrey. Now, who likes Joffrey? No one likes Joffrey. No one. Who likes Joffrey? And that character is worse than Joffrey. Now, at the time, when I'd done that other video, because I was still very deeply involved, I was so angry, like, oh my life, he's a monster. But now I just laugh, because at the end of the day, it's just a character. It's a character in a book. And still, that character still is a monster. I don't like that character, but I'm not as emotional anymore. I'm past that. I am past that. Okay. And yeah, so that basically, once I realised that that's what that character was about, I just basically seen the evilness and wickedness. Like I said in my other video, that was when I was like, okay, that's it. I don't want no association with it. So yeah, that was basically my journey. There were the things I touched on to get out of there. And also I realized when I started to do meditation and yoga as well, because I do like yoga, both of them made me feel good. Just within myself, made me feel good. And then I also started to question, I was like, but wait, these are the things that the church says to stay away from. They don't really give no explanation except the devil. Like, that's it. It's the devil's business. Stay away from it. But in my head, I'm like, huh? But when I do these things, I actually feel good. I feel good. So why was I told to stay away from it? Astrology as well. That was another thing I dabbled into. I looked into it and I actually found out more about myself. And I was like, So why is it the church says to stay away? So I started to question all them things. Basically, I started to question all the things the church says to stay away from, and I found out it really ain't that bad, ain't that deep. And yeah, and then it just, once I looked into them things, it just made me realize as well that the church just wants to keep you trapped, unfortunately, because they say stay away from things that are harmless, things that could actually help you, help your literally could help your mental health, your mental state, and they say to stay away from it. And it just confirmed that they just want control. I've been asked quite a lot in the comments, what do I believe in now? Because obviously people has to have a belief. We have to believe in something. A higher power, we have to. Yeah, they've asked me what I believe in. So, do you want to know? Do you want to know? Come closer then. Come closer. Come on, don't be shy. Don't be shy. Come on. All right, yo, not that close. Back up. You will find out what I believe in the next video. So, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope I was rambling, but I hope you enjoy my rambling. If you do like it, then like. If you don't like it, then dislike it, because it still helps my channel anyway. I want to know your thoughts and opinions. Did you experience anything of what I've experienced? Have you heard of Lilith? Do you know Lilith? Do you? Subscribe and hit the bell for when you find out what I believe in. Okay, and I'll see you in my next video.